Ah yes, Thornwood. This place used to be amazing. I remember I used to love this area way back when Odalita was first released because it genuinely looked interesting and it was quite profitable at that time. Since then it just fallen way behind the new Valencia and Elvia, and let's just say with a recent buff to this place I came back here and I was quite surprised to see how good it became. That being said, yeah, let's take a look at the revisited Thornwood. As always, let's start with how this place used to look like for the sake of reference. My first visit here was on October 2020, just like Turos over a year ago, when Odalita was fresh and just firstly added into the game. You may already notice it has no fang scrolls at all. A decent amount of drop rate for the rings, about 5.6 thousand trash per hour clearing speed on a blue loot scroll, and an abysmally low 140 million silver per hour average with today's prices, and I should probably delete the crystals, because these are literally unprofitable. Since then, I did come back here once, back when I rerolled onto Corsair. This was at the end of July 2021, after the fangs were added into the game, but before the fangs were reworked, so they were kind of cheap, let's say. 6.7 thousand trash per hour clearing speed on a blue loot scroll, and let's say close to 190 million silver. This was my most recent visit, and this is what I have to beat nowadays. If we fast forward to present day, nowadays I still play Corsair Succession with this gear on the screen, but this was after the class reworks, so I do have higher damage overall. And I did retag my old Nova because I missed her, so I do have a couple of hours grinded on Nova as well. I do have full tier 4 pets, so it should be the most amount of loot possible. This is the rotation I used and the one I would recommend. I call it the bridge rotation. It's probably not named that officially, but that's where I spend my hours. In terms of how this area performs, you know this already. It's just normal monsters, nothing really special. There's just one event you have to look forward to, and you have that yellow message on the screen. You look around, you find the black puddle that spawns monsters. Basically you get a couple of rounds of weak mobs that will follow you, blah blah blah. You know that already. At the end there's a boss that you can kill, and the only notable thing, and the reason why I bring this up, is that the boss seems to be dropping between 1 and 3 Caphras when he dies, and often he does drop 3 Caphras. So the more of these events you have per hour, the higher your Caphra drop rate per hour will be, and probably also a bit higher trash per hour, since those normal monsters are kind of weak. Other than that, I did spend originally 5 hours grinding here, but then after I saw my profits I said it looks a bit too high, so I spent another 2 additional hours to a total of 7. So let's take a look at Excel and the results for today. First I'm gonna show you this picture with how the spreadsheet looked like with just the first 5 hours added, so you can see that money per hour before it was changed, and then this is the updated result with the other 2 hours included. If you notice, the money per hour numbers, they are basically the same as they were before. And long story short, for those of you who don't have the time, about 350 million silver per hour average is what you should expect on a blue loot scroll, about 420 average on a yellow loot scroll, and around 500 million silver per hour on blue plus Agris if you have that many Agris points to burn for a full hour. The reason why I did the other 2 hours extra is because these numbers seemed to be too high, so I just wanted to drop them down a little bit. Even though this place was buffed, I just thought 2 rings in 5 hours seems too good to be true, but I dropped the third one, so nothing really changed. In terms of trash per hour, it's quite literally 13,000 precisely if I include the other 2 trash loot. The original run was on yellow loot scroll, so that's the baseline, and this seems to be true for both Corsair and Nova in terms of how they grind. These are the results trash per hour wise for blue plus Agris or blue loot scroll if you're interested. And in terms of notable things to mention, the Caphra stones are, let's say, a bit all over the place. I got 44 in this hour. I believe this was that run with 5 events spawned, so these do carry your Caphra drop rate to some extent. I did have this one very unlucky with 18, but the average was 28, so you should expect 25 to 30 Caphras per hour, about 10-ish dust. I did drop one Spectre's energy, which I valued as NPC price, because I guess why not? The crystals, these were buffed in drop rate as well, but they are literally negative profit with the current market values, so I just didn't value them at all. The fangs, I valued them in the exact same way as I did for the Turos video. I have this picture with my guildie running the scrolls. I didn't rerun them myself, but this seems to be the value-ish. Per each fang, they are taxed with a marketplace return. You do drop about 5 of them average per hour here, which seems to be pretty good. 20% of your final profit comes just from the fangs themselves. About 180 black stones per hour average if you're interested, and I think that's everything that's kind of notable. Yeah, Agris points, that's the only thing left. If you want to run a full hour on Agris, you're looking at around 90,000 points burned per hour at this clearing speed. I should have said the second hour is the only one done on Blue Plus Agris. And this is the important number, as you already know, the efficiency. Just remember 33,000, the lower this number is, the more efficient an area is. And I will just put on the screen now the Valencia charts with all of those Valencia areas and the updated-ish Elvia chart, so you can compare the results. It's not the most efficient place ever. Honestly, I would not recommend it for Agris. You're just better off using those in Valencia, but it's not that bad. So in the end, what is my conclusion for Thornwood? It's actually surprisingly profitable. It's justifiable to grind here, because it requires more AP than Valencia, and it's slightly more profitable than Valencia. It's basically a really justifiable upgrade or next step after Valencia. 400-ish million silver on yellow loot scroll is pretty respectable in my opinion. I feel like I should point out, if it wasn't yet obvious, those fang scrolls, while they are profitable, they do take some time to run and you have to get a party for them in the first place. Today's money per hour number was made valuing the fangs, but not including the time required to actually run them, so do keep that in mind. But other than that, yeah, we are done. Wow, what a surprise! Thornwood is better than Turos for money per hour. Amazing. Let me know in the comments if the ring drop rate I had is good or just RNG carried. What was your experience with Thornwood overall? I'm really curious. I will see you next time with a different area. As always, have fun grinding, stay happy, and bye bye.